Oi, 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 the time is half past midnight where I am. I was just winding down for the night, thinking I was done with work for the day, and then I see that these patch notes have come in for the War Within beta. Let's talk about them because, oi, 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 you are seeing these numbers right. Look at these damage buffs coming in for Warlock, man. This is absolutely insane. And yeah, let's talk about them, man. So I think that all of these changes are impactful enough that I'm even going to pay some attention to the Affliction ones. I know, right? I'm an absolute saint. The sacrifices I make for you guys on this channel, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so first of all, man, very, very interesting changes to the hero talents, starting off with the Diabolist spec, which, by the way, I actually really, really love the Diabolist hero talents. I find them way more interesting and flavoursome than the Hellcaller hero talents, which is basically just, for destro, make your immolate instant. That's it. That's all you really do, you know. Whereas the Diabolist ones, demons popping out all over the place, feels really, really cool and dynamic and flavoursome. So yeah, the Fell Seeker damage has been increased by 360%. What the hell is this? The Chaos Salvo damage, which I think is when you summon the big demon woman with 6 arms, okay, and she channels that well, Chaos Salvo. 420% damage buff. Wicked Cleave, I guess it's like the Fell Lord or whatever that you summon. Damage increased 830%. My god. I mean, it was hitting like very, very weak before, to be honest. It was almost not noticeable. So an 800% damage buff is just going to make it hit like, what, I don't know, maybe like a Chaos Bolt or something? A Chaos Bolt 0.5? Something like that. Ruination is the name of the skill that you get when you summon the Pit Lord, and then it converts your Chaos Bolt into the spell Ruination for destro. And yeah, it's going to deal 70% more damage, so it's going to be almost like a double power Chaos Bolt, which is really, really cool, because honestly it was a little bit lacking before, but now it's going to absolutely smack, which is great. These damage numbers might be a little bit overtuned, by the way. As much as I love to see them, I don't want destro to be this powerhouse that everybody hates playing against and everybody rages that destro is OP and stuff like that. We don't want that, obviously. But these damage numbers, most of these I think are kind of justified. Ruination being buffed by 70% might actually be one of those changes that's a little bit much, but we'll see. Infernal Bolt damage increased by 70% also, and a destro-specific change right here, man. This is really, really interesting. So the duration of Diabolic Ritual is now 14 seconds instead of 20. Now, if you don't know what Diabolic Ritual does, this might actually seem like a nerf, but the way that Diabolic Ritual works is it counts down from 20 seconds, okay? And you can get that timer to count down faster as you're spending soul shards, right? So you're spamming out soul shards, you might be able to get it down in like 12 seconds or something, you know? And then once the ritual expires, your next soul shard consuming spell triggers one of these big old effects, basically. So having its duration reduced to 14 seconds means you're going to get off way, way more of these empowered casts that is summoning demons and empowering your spells and stuff if you're playing the Diabolist hero talents. This is a fantastic, fantastic buff. Diabolist did feel like it was quite far behind Hellcaller in terms of power level, so this is a great, great change, especially for destro, to be honest. And yeah, as much as I love instant cast Immolate with the Hellcaller tree, I'm a big, big fan, like I said, of the Diabolist hero talents, and I would love to be able to actually play with those and not feel like I'm gimping myself, but there you go. So next on to the Hellcaller changes, where the damage has been increased by 15%. Okay, I mean, it was doing fine just before. For Affliction in specific, where the damage has been increased by 35%. I believe it was nerfed quite a lot recently for Affliction, so it looks like they're kind of slamming the brakes on that and reversing that nerf just a little bit. So fair enough. For Destruction, Blackened Soul damage was increased by 45%. So I think this is when you trigger your Wither into dealing that kind of bonus tick damage, depending on how many stacks you built up on the Wither dot. So yeah, just more burst for destro and more consistent damage for Affy. Kind of what you would expect, right? Scrolling it down a little bit. I'm not going to cover these Soul Harvester changes right here, to be honest. I'll be just scrolling on by, like all of these and stuff. You also can read them if you want. Soul Harvester is, frank, I can't really comment on these changes because, yeah, it's just some hero talents that I haven't tried out at all here. So, but there they are, if you want to read through them yourself and kind of gauge how you judge those changes. Next up, some Affliction-specific changes here. UA damage increased by 45%. Dark Glare damage increased 55%. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Just solid damage buffs for Affy. Affy feels a little bit lackluster, to be honest, in the War Within, so it does also need some love, and that's nice to see. I usually like, when I'm very, very active in an expansion, I like to have an alt Warlock that I play as Affy, just to kind of mix things up and keep things a bit fresh for myself, you know? As somebody who just plays like 3 or 4 Warlocks in an expansion, usually. Next up, we've got some demonology changes. Again, I don't really know how to judge these so much, as my cat comes in to just block half of the screen. She's getting the love. Okay, yeah, I don't really know how to judge these. Demo's not really a spec that I play, but there they are. Just some damage buffs all around. Not quite as severe as the damage buffs to the likes of Destro, but there we go. Pan on down just a little bit further, and here are all of the Destro changes, man. Case bolt damage, 20% increase. Shadowburn damage, 25% increase. Same with Conflagrate. Incinerate damage gets a little bit of a smidgen, a little bit of a smiggle of an increase over here. Not that great, to be honest. Ritual of Ruin now activates after spending 20 soul shards, was 15. Ouch, man. Oh, that kind of stings. Is Ritual of Ruin even worth taking anymore at that point? That doesn't feel good. That feels pretty crap. Not that I'm that sad about it, because to be honest, I'm not a big fan of talents in the talent tree, especially towards the end of the talent tree that feel mandatory. Feels like you have to pick them up, that you don't really have that much of a choice, and it's like the illusion of options at the bottom of the talent tree. So a nerf to Ritual of Ruin, which, I don't know, does this open up the door to some other builds that I'm struggling to think of on the spot? And we'll investigate probably tomorrow at some point. Maybe it does, man, but yeah, I'm not too sad about this nerf. Ritual of Ruin, it's still decently strong at a 20 soul shard cost, but there you go. Also fix an issue with rain of fire with damage enemies through walls. There you go. And so these are the changes to Warlock. Now, this does kind of allay some of my fears just a little bit. Is that the right word? Allay my fears? Alleviate my fears? Whatever. Something like that. That the expansion was going to launch, it was going to be an absolute issue in terms of class balance. It looks like now they're really putting their foot on the gas and making up for lost time with their class balance. Just to reiterate, for anybody who hasn't been paying attention, Warlock damage, especially in PvP in the War Within beta, has been atrocious. It's been just awful. And it hasn't only been Warlock, you know, Devastation Evokers were hit recently. There's quite a few classes that are really, really far behind in terms of damage numbers. And I was just horrified, man. I was having flashbacks of Warlords of Draenor and stuff, you know, everybody submitting feedback, talking about this class is struggling, that spec struggling, blah, blah, blah. And then the game just launched, and it was like, it was just still in alpha testing. Like, it had no right to launch when it did, and nothing was fixed. It was just all over the place. Cat, you gotta stop sitting your balloon knot on the mouse, man. But yeah, this is nice to see. At least they're like panic changing stuff. They're making big sweeping changes, which is what we desperately needed. You know, a little 5% buff here, 10% buff there. That wasn't going to cut it. They needed to take a sledgehammer to this as quickly as possible, and so this is good to see. Now, I do kind of want to check on mages. I want to see what mages are up to as well, just real fast. So these are the upcoming changes. Again, 30th July here, so very, very recent indeed. We've got all kinds of damage buffs to Frostfire, Living Bomb, damage multiplier, increased 175. Small increase to dam here, 100% increased damage. I don't know what a lot of these skills do, to be honest, but I'm just kind of curious, because Mage was looking really quite strong, and so are they getting damage buffs as well? Is that what's happening here? Ooh, they're actually not across the board, so Arcane is actually getting a little bit of damage reduction to Barrage and Arcane Blast here and here, whereas other skills are getting some damage buffs. So a little bit of a mixed bag for the likes of Arcane. For fire, lit fuse, chance to trigger reduced to 4%, reduced to 3% here. I don't know what any of these procs do, but living bomb damage decreased by 75%, scorch damage buffed by a little bit, but scorch is kind of like a filler, right? It doesn't really matter so much. So it actually looks like Mage packing a little bit of nerfs in these recent changes. And you know what? We've always got to check on rogues as well. Our arch nemesis. Any damage buffs to rogue? Oh god. It just makes me worried, man. It just makes me deeply concerned, you know. To be fair, it's small damage buffs. I think Rogue is actually okay, maybe, right now on the beta. To be honest, I haven't really played many solo shuffles on the beta servers against Rogues. Maybe they're kind of underpowered. Maybe these buffs honestly aren't enough for Rogues. Not that I'll ever celebrate Rogues getting buffs, you know. As a Destro main, it's like, bro, the weaker rogues are, the more fun I get to have, you know? But hey, yeah, there you go, man. Those are the changes. I'm going to be testing those out more than likely tomorrow on the War Within beta. And so we'll hope that the changes have gone live by then, and so I can shoot some solo shuffles, and we can judge together how things are shaping up and how things feel, and which specs maybe look like they're being left behind a little bit and still need some love, and most importantly, how Destro is doing. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you all enjoyed this happy little development. And then we're going to catch all of you all just a tad bit later, man.